Christians hiked through America's Great Smoky Mountains recently.
Did they? Ugh, that sounds like a lot of work. Nah. What they want to be doing is praying for God to carry them through the mountains, let them take a couple of pictures for their socials, and then plop them back home, where he's even prepared a nice home-cooked meal and poured them a delicious, if a bit small, pint of whiskey for bedtime. Look, if God wants to start selling me on this shit, he's really going to have to start, doing stuff.
Led by one of the foremost creation scientists in this country.
Okay. First off, foremost creation scientist? Well, aside from the fact that that's an oxymoron of epic proportions, creation scientists, you might as well tell me he's an expert on unicorn mating habits for how much of a non-real thing creationism is. And what is this news station? It looks pretty legit, but you're talking about a creation scientist without cacking your pants laughing at the ridiculousness of it all. Who are you guys? CBN. What the hell is CBN? Oh, Christian Broadcasting Network. So basically, not really a reliable news network. Seriously. The news is the news, regardless of your fucking perspective on it. Yeah, I know, but you should at least be attempting objectivity, or at the very least, pretending to be objective for fuck's sake. But no, crappy biblical nonsense can't even do that. Well, at least we know what we're in for.
They searched for geological evidence of creationism and a biblical account of the Great Flood.
They are searching for geological evidence for creationism and the biblical accounts of the Great Floods by wandering around a mountain following some jumped-up little charlatan who's lying about what various geological features actually mean and not for 1 second doing any, geology to actually find out what it all means. God damn it, that's just fucking embarrassing. Seriously, the second-hand embarrassment that I feel for anyone showing up on this is real. Send help.
Contributing reporter Russ Jones joined the expedition.
Good old Russ Jones, famous for his work on world-renowned publications like Yeehaw, Hooey, and other words and phrases that make you sound real smart. And if Jesus has to be my co-pilot, how do I get him to stop hitting on me? Among many other not totally made up magazines designed to make fun of him. You should share your favourites that you totally didn't just make up in the comments to prove once and for all you lot are just funnier than me, aren't you? Yeah, I knew it.
Dr. Andrew Snelling, geologist and director of research of Answers in Genesis.
Well, there it is, right there. Video over now. Let's go get our drink on. But no, of course not. This is, as always, where the fun begins. Because Answers in Genesis is to a credible scientific institution as cringy batshit nightmare are a legitimate news source, or as PragerU is even as good as a non-accredited university. That is to say, no, and hell no. And if you need further convincing because you haven't heard of AIG, they are the guys who play host to Ken Ham. The guy who literally discredits all science on the face of it to a chorus of smiling idiots.
So, in a big loud voice, who should you always trust first, God or the scientist? God, and I want you to remember that.
Children. So yeah, those guys.
Led the half-day excursion that sought to teach a young Earth worldview.
And if any of the people there had half a brain, one can only assume they failed. Unfortunately, you already have to be brainily retentive in order to even bother turning up to these things, so I don't really have my hopes up in that regard. Although what fun it would be to go a couple of times, one time to just take down all the informations and learning they put across, and then a second time with all their claims fact-checked, but then you present it to them in the form of questions that they simply won't be able to answer, because they are so full of shit.
At some 6,600 feet, Klingman's Dome near Gatlinburg, Tennessee.
Wait, that dome has 6,600 feet? Now forgive me if I'm wrong, but any geological structure should have far less feet than that. Should have one. No, I'm right, because you can be at the foot of a mountain, the thing that it is, can't you? But no, 6,600 is way too many. Therefore, creationism is debunked. #checkmate Bible. Wait, I forgot, I'm not those guys. I'm going to have to make an actual argument for my point, aren't I?
Served as a real-life classroom to teach about creationism and the flood account in the Bible.
Well, I'm not surprised that the closest that creationists can get to a real-life classroom is standing by a bunch of rocks like this is the fucking Flintstones. And how apt is that, considering the number of creaty boys who think that the Flintstones is a fucking documentary on how humans lived with the dino chaps. The childish morons that they are.
The very fact that we have these crystals is an indication that it's very rapid.
Is it now? Because I couldn't find anything when looking up the formation of Klingman's dome that indicated that anything about its formation was rapid. Now, that crystals gambit, he may be referring to the rock itself being a type of igneous rock, which may have formed relatively quickly. But first off, that's a volcano thing, and if anyone thinks that the existence of volcanoes proves the flat Earth, I'm sorry, I mean young Earth. I do get those confused, they are both so very stupid. But in terms of rock that had already formed, another aspect of geological structures is the shifting of the ground itself, which would, and does, take a very, very long time. And the simple fact of the matter is, Klingman's dome is part of the Copper Hill Formation, which likely formed tens of millions of years ago. You know, slightly longer than fucking 6,000, you denser than the rocks you claim to understand. Fuck.
Perhaps one of the world's leading researchers in flood geology.
What does that even entail? I mean, seriously, geologists the world over, you know, proper ones, are all doing geology properly, and for some reason, those countless experts who are actually doing anything of value haven't found trace one of a global flood that happened a few thousand years ago. And yet here you are pointing at rocks and going, look, some geological feature, that means God did it. Oh wait, sorry, I mean rapid did it. Which, funnily enough, even if he was right, doesn't actually mean God done it. Because you have to, you know, prove that shit.
Snelling claims Klingman's dome is an example of how catastrophic events challenge the idea of a gradual Earth formation that took billions of years.
How? Catastrophic events happen, yes, but... And here's the clever part. We know when those happened, and we also know when other things happened. You know, things that happened millions of years ago, and they happened millions of years ago. So just because something can happen quickly, it in no way invalidates something happening incredibly slowly. It's like saying Super Nintendo doesn't exist because look at all the new-ish Switches that are new. It's dumb.
And one of the key events in the Earth history is the flood. Jesus even spoke of the flood. Peter spoke of the flood.
It's certainly key from your guys' perspective, and if it isn't true, which it isn't, it really dunks on the whole big important section of the Bible, doesn't it? And what's that? A thing that happened in the Bible is referenced again in the Bible? Well, if there was ever a more convincing evidence of an event's factual nature, it's that the thing it's written in has it written in but later. It's like the fucking prophecies of the Bible. The ones that come true in the Bible, they don't fucking count. Although, to be fair, we all know the real science is just, I am correct because I am correct because I am correct because 20 go to 10.
And so Noah and the flood are key to that history being true.
Finally, something we agree on. They are, in fact, key for the history of themselves to themselves being true. It's a little redundant, but it is at least correct. And well, unfortunately for you, there is literally, and I mean literally, no evidence that supports even the vaguest notion of there being a global flood about 4,000 years or so ago. I think not only because there's no trace of it happening anywhere, but because of all the stuff that we know that is older than that, having had zero effect caused by a catastrophic flood damage. It's almost like it never fucking happened.
And if that history is true, then the gospel message founded on that history is true.
Here's the thing about shit in the Bible. There are things in the Bible that are true. Pointless, ancillary things that everybody should know about, but still. So for argument's sake, let's say there was evidence of a flood that happened. And it was pretty damn big, but perhaps not as catastrophic as the Bible claims, where enough people around the world survived by getting to higher ground, etc. But certainly big enough to leave a bunch of evidence of a massive flood. Well, everyone still alive would be well aware of it and would, of course, generate plenty of mythology around such an event. So the simple fact that it's written in the Bible says nothing to the Bible's other claims, only that it has some vague historicity in the stuff that was just, well, known to have happened. Everything else would still need to be proven.
And challenges people that they must respond to the Creator Jesus Christ.
No, absolutely not. Again, if a flood happened and the Bible had written about it, it would not prove the Noah part without, proof. And it certainly wouldn't prove that God sent it. And it certainly wouldn't prove the God sent it part. It would just show that the Bible got something right. Stopped clocks being right twice a day and all that. So no, you would not have to respond to anything in the Bible, even if that had happened. But it didn't. So it's a fucking moot point anyway.
Joshua Platalero just moved to Knoxville, Tennessee from Spain, where his parents were missionaries.
Oh God, that sounds freaking awful. No, not the Spain part, that sounds lovely, but missionary parents, Christ. And in fucking Spain of all places? Do people still do that in Western countries? Can't imagine it was easy, because you're either preaching to the choir or you're having the absolute piss ripped out of you all the time. Also, I just have this image in my head of his parents shouting at people about God in English, and everyone there is just like, "Qué?" To fuck with them, seeing as Europeans often speak better English than the English. Mate, 20 bob ledge Nando's.
A sophomore in Thomas Edison State College's online degree program.
Okay, so what? I mean, I am still getting used to the fact that an online qualification is actually kind of valid, but that's just me being old. But he's a sophomore, which is not exactly the end of his scholastic career. And what's he studying? I'm going to guess it's not geology. So why even bring it up? Well, I suppose because it sounds better than, here's this guy, and he's a young person. Whoop-de-fucking-do.
Platalero said he was excited to discover evidence of the flood so close to home.
I mean, he didn't, and no, the other guy didn't either. He's just claiming that's what it is, and then all you fucking rubes just nod your head agreeing to this thing that validates your stupid fucking worldview. Such a shame that this young man isn't, actually questioning this shit. I mean, he probably has a device in his pocket that will tell him what the actual history of this place is, but no, that's just a competing theory or some shit like that. And if you want to go that route, it's a competition like me fighting a toddler. There's no fucking contest, and I'm not holding back either. He started this shit, I'ma fucking finish it. Calling me a doo-doo head? I'll kill you, you little shite.
There's so much evidence that what the Bible says actually really happened.
Oh, Josh, you sweet summer child, no. No, there isn't. Christ, I hope after this he actually, learns some critical thinking skills and this will just be an embarrassing moment on a fake news channel that no one ever watched. I mean, a lot more will watch it now, but cut the kid some slack. He just believed what he was told to believe by people that he trusts not to lie to him. Never trust a humans, Joshy. They are just all the worst.
And there's so much more evidence than any other theories.
Oh, God damn it, Josh, there isn't. Like, seriously, the old adage is that you can learn all the proof and evidence for creationism and biblical literalism in a relatively short amount of time, and that you couldn't learn all the same for even a small aspect of science in multiple fucking lifetimes. The difference in data that backs it up is just completely overwhelming, and whoever told you there was more for your claim than the other way round was straight up lying to you, mate. Run far away, boy.
And that's just so cool. I mean, of course we can't know everything. We have to have faith.
No, you can't know everything as an individual, but you should be able to source any question you have and have it answered. If someone tells you there is no answer to a question and that you have to have faith, that person doesn't know what they're talking about, and they don't want you to realize that what they're saying is category 9 bullshit. Next time someone tells you to just have faith, when you have an earnest question, you tell them to have faith in these nuts, because that's more respectful than they're being to you.
But it's great to know, too, that there's also much evidence that the Bible is true so that we can have more confidence in God and trust in Him more. And
oh, Josh, what a damn shame. And hell, you don't actually even sound that confident. Perhaps that's the wonderful seed of doubt that will one day sprout into a tree of not being a fucking creationist dumbass. We're all pulling for you, mate. Anyway, next.
While this small group of adventuresome Christians is here in the Great Smoky Mountains exploring the book of Genesis with the creation narrative.
What? How are they exploring anything? They are literally just being told, this rock is young because I said so. No phones allowed on this tour. They're full of the devils. Facts. What they're doing is just being led around by their noses to hear things that they want to hear and to in no way, shape or form be challenged on their beliefs. Frankly, it's fucking sad.
There's a much larger group of believers in Sevierville, Tennessee, for the Answers Mega Conference.
Oh God, there's more of them. And the Answers Mega Conference is honestly a fucking hilarious name for anything. But great, fine. Let's find out if someone in your camp has something of actual fucking value to say. But I'm not confident that the answer is anything other than, but what?
Some 1,500 Christians from across the nation gathered at the Sevierville Event Center last week to hear noted speakers teach on creation and biblical apologetics.
Oh, those poor bastards getting fleeced out of what I can only assume is a bunch of money to listen to a bunch of wankers lie about how science works and not be honest about the staggering lack of proof for literally anything biblical. It would be funny if it weren't so depressing and that these fucking morons can vote.
Believers like James Jones II of Atlanta, Georgia, hope to flood his mind with new resources.
So if you flooded a small crevice with a large quantity of liquid, you would perhaps clean that thing. And another word for mind is brain. So he has come here to have his brain washed with creationist propaganda. Well, that's just fucking great, isn't it?
And I like the way that they answer the questions of the age today.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie, the framing of that shit is fucking hilarious. It looks like he's just wearing a t-shirt that says abortion in block capitals. So one might think that he supports it if taken out of context. God damn it, chatting bullshit nonchalantly. You are so freaking incompetent, it's almost like you aren't a real News Corp.
A lot of things that people really don't think about, but are really relevant for those that are lost and those who are crying out for relevancy.
I mean, yeah, creationists don't think about the things they say, so we can at least agree on that. And I can only hope that they lose every possible shred of relevance and become just a hilarious footnote in history.
Jones, who works with inner city youth, says he needs all the tools he can get to defend the gospel.
Okay, first off, I still cannot figure out if that t-shirt is pro or anti-abortion, because that growing, gone slogan is hysterically funny. And second, yeah, it's weird that you would think that the gospel would be so right and smart and full of good ideas that you wouldn't need a bunch of tricks and hacks in order to trick people into thinking it's true. Almost like it fucking isn't.
Really helps a lot when you're around other believers who are like-minded from different areas to be able to help share with you their experience as far as talking, their experience as far as being able to have the courage to be able to talk to people, as well as share information.
Tools and encouragement to...
Oh, sorry, but the way he gets cut off there is so perfect. We have to share all of our not and then just fucking static. It's so perfect. And yeah, mate, when you hang out with a bunch of people who agree with you about your stupid shit, you are more confident in your stupid shit. Doesn't mean it isn't stupid shit.
Tools and encouragement to help others realize that our world and existence isn't an accident, but the handiwork of a purposeful and loving Creator. In Sevierville, Tennessee, I'm Russ Jones.
That's a hell of a conclusion from these clapping brainless nincompoops. You know, it's almost like they are just a biblical propaganda center masquerading as a legitimate news source that have absolutely no interest in being correct. Weird.
Wait, before you go, I have something super important to tell you. It's life or death. It will change everything forever. Nope, wait, it's gone. Oh well, probably wasn't important. But while I have you, don't forget to comment, subscribe and notify. And if you want more of my smexy voice, check out Mrs. Six's channel Spoonstaff Stories, where I narrate and voice all the videos, and she does the work. And if you want to support the channel, check out the merch store for cool t-shirts, or check out Patreon, memberships and PayPal to support directly. Finally, follow me on the medias of social to get completely pointless guff and to keep up on the latest releases. Oh, I just remembered what I was going to tell you. Whatever you do, don't touch the